Obi sparks firestorm over Tinubu's subsidy figures. All right, let me read this. The criticism of former Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi over subsidy savings sparked firestorm on Monday as the presidency described him as a shallow personality who is not well grounded in the issues of economics and governance. Obi, who spoke as a guest on Arise Television on Monday, queried what happened to the billions saved with the fuel subsidy removal. Reacting, however, the special advisor to the president on policy communication, Daniel BWALA, in a statement posted via his official X account, said he was surprised Obi could agree with the economic policies of President Bola Tinubu, especially on fuel subsidy removal and the unification of foreign exchange. For those of you who don't know, Daniel BWALA is one of the worst political spokesperson you can ever know. I'm telling you. That guy, his hypocrisy does not have any bounds. It doesn't know limit. There's no limit to his hypocrisy. He's the worst political spokesman or presidential spokesperson that I have ever seen or heard about. Daniel BWALA is someone I respected him when he was the political spokesperson for to Atiku Abubakar in 2023 election. I respected him for one thing. I don't like his person. One thing about me is I may not like you, but I'm that kind of person who will commend you whenever you do something good, or if I discover or notice something good about you. Daniel BWALA, as much as I didn't like him because he was supporting Atiku then, I was for Peter Obi. I didn't like him, but there's one thing about him I admire and I respect. Is a gift in him. God blessed him with intelligence and brilliance. He's eloquent. He's charismatic. He's very, very not just eloquent. He's a very attractive person. When you hear him speak, he can be very articulate, very, very knowledgeable, very insightful. So I actually like him for that. But when it comes to morality, that guy is depraved. He is bereaved of anything that has to do with scruples or principles. He is a complete disappointment to morality. He is at the other end of morality, other extreme of morality. He lacks any form of, he lacks even an iota. He doesn't even have an iota of credibility to speak when it comes to policy or moral issues. That is just it. So he is criticizing Peter Obi here. Okay, let me read on. BWALA said it was obvious the former Anambra State governor and other opposition figures were simply after taking over power all the while. He wrote, quote, is anybody watching Peter Obi on Arise TV? He agreed with our policy of removal of subsidy and unification of the foreign exchange. He claimed he would have done it better than us in an organized manner. He was asked what the organized manner is. He played with words, yet to arrive at agreeing with us. Let me read this quote back again, repeat it. He was asked what the organized manner is. He played with words, yet to arrive at agreeing with us. Anybody with a rational mind knows these guys are just looking to grab power, but they don't have any alternative agenda. He seems to have very shallow knowledge of economics and governance. What the hell? Again, like I said, someone like BWALA is too smart and too intelligent for him to quote this nonsense here because it contradicts Peter Obi's pedigree and he contradicts Peter Obi's credentials. You are talking about BWALA said, he criticized Peter Obi, called him, he said, anybody with a rational mind knows these guys are just looking to grab power, but they don't have any alternative agenda. He seems to have very shallow knowledge of economics and governance. This is contradicting of Peter Obi's credentials. Economics and governance, that Peter Obi is shallow, has shallow knowledge of economics and governance. Peter Obi is not just a billionaire. He is, I think he's still, either he was a chairman and still a board member of Fidelity Bank, a successful bank for that, for that matter. This man is an importer. He is he's a billionaire, not just a billionaire, a successful businessman. How can someone who is not a good economist succeed as a banker and as a trader? Tell me, Daniel, you just, I consider you as a very brilliant and intelligent man, but you just shot yourself in the foot. That is just it. You just shot yourself in the foot. Honestly, because Peter Obi is a successful economist, practically, evidentially. Now, the other one is, you say Peter Obi have shallow knowledge of governance. Daniel BWALA is, I don't know, probably you are bereaved of memory. You have forgotten that Peter Obi was 2 times, that is 8 years governor of Anambra State. Not just the governor of Anambra State. He was 8 years successful governor of Anambra State. The governor that I consider, and so many Nigerians, and rightfully so, evidentially so, as the best governor that Nigeria has ever produced. There is no governor in the history of Nigeria, no governor of any state that can match, not even close to matching what Peter Obi's record as Anambra State governor. So you are a Daniel BWALA, you are a contradiction to you've been a contradiction to yourself. You contradicted yourself when you turn on your former, I'll call beneficiary, your former boss, Atiku Abubakar, and turn to Bola Tinubu that you call so many names, all manner of names, despicable names. So you've been a contradiction. Your entire life is a contradiction. So you're a contradiction to yourself, and now you are contradicting yourself even more by saying this nonsense. That Peter Obi has shallow knowledge of economics and governance. You are just a bunch of sycophants who is only just trying to justify his position, his corrupt position, and his earnings to his master, who is equally corrupt. The quote continues. That's why you don't hear that's why you don't hear I put it to you and no backing like a Rottweiler. Yet if it didn't day. Anyway, this is a sarcastic quote. Okay, let me read on. I think there are other points I need to make here. Okay, I think that is it. If you go to my manifesto, we say that I've constantly maintained. Okay, yeah, I think that is it on this or whatever. Now back to Peter Obi. Now Peter Obi, honestly, removing oil, I never had any issue with removing oil subsidy. All I've always had was Nigeria, that there's every successive president that tried doing that. My concern then was the environment was not. They never prepared the environment. The environment was not conducive, was not enabling for such situation. And that's the same thing Peter Obi is coming. Honestly, if Peter Obi had been the president, if he had won the election, he would have done much better. Would have been in a much better position as Nigerians today and Nigeria. He would have run the economy in a better way because he did that. He actually did that. He may not have been able to achieve that kind of success as that when he was the governor of Anambra State, because Nigeria is so complex. The National Assembly will fight into a stupor. But at least Nigeria, our economy wouldn't have been in a very, very bad shape today. Secondly, we would not have been this indebted. He would not have borrowed this much money. Even if he borrowed money, honestly, Peter Obi will utilize the loan for something productive or resourceful. So, that he agrees, of course, that if you are criticizing your enemy, doesn't mean that your enemy does not have some good qualities. And that's where I always come from. If no matter how bad you are, there are good sides of you. Even okay, the devil doesn't have anything good. I don't think there's anything that they good about the devil anyway. But even his followers, the devil's followers, as bad as evil as they may be, they have a good side. Every human being on earth has one good side or the other. So if that BWALA is saying nonsense that he probably felt excited that Peter Obi supported the subsidy, Bola Ahmed Tinubu's subsidy removal. Now, Peter Obi did not support the removal. Technically, he is not supporting the removal. He's supporting the idea behind the removal, but obviously, just like most people criticize the removal, it was untimely, it was not conducive then. There was nothing on the ground. He didn't prepare. Nigeria was not prepared for the removal of the subsidy. And Peter Obi, that's what he keeps saying in the public domain. That yes, he supports subsidy removal, but he could have done it in a different way. And I believe him for that. I believe Peter Obi would have done it in a different way. I believe Peter Obi would have ruled Nigeria better than any other person. I don't know if any other person, because Obasanjo tried his best. What's his name? Sani Abacha tried his best. They were not the best, but they tried their best. The intention was what mattered. Let me tell one thing. When it comes to leadership or whatever, the success in leadership is always determined by two factors. One, the person's intention. Two, and the person's drive. What is the president's intention, and what is driving those intentions? Those are the two things. So in the case of Obasanjo and Abacha, as wicked as Abacha was, Abacha had good intention for Nigeria, just like Obasanjo. They had good intentions, and what was driving those intentions was patriotism, especially Obasanjo's case. Obasanjo had good intention for Nigeria, and Obasanjo is patriotic. He was patriotic, and he's still patriotic. And Abacha too. Abacha did some things that as bad as he was, honestly, security under Abacha was. I remember during that 419, Abacha, the crime called 419, the criminal code called 419 came to limelight during Babangida's era. And it did not only come to limelight, but it soared, it blossomed during Babangida era. But what happened when Abacha came in? Abacha decapitated that crime. crime rate was low. Alberta brought down crime, generally crime rates, robbery, all manner of crimes. And all this issue of religious crisis here and there, riots here and there. Abacha did this, and there are some projects. He was the one. Abacha was the one who initiated, who introduced PTF. Abacha tried. He had good intentions. So was Obasanjo. And that is it. So Obi too would have done better. I don't know if he could. I don't know his intention. The truth is, I don't know his intention, because Obi's intention, I don't consider Obi's intention to be sincere and genuine, because if his intentions are sincere and genuine, he could have fought for us when Bola Tinubu chose to bribe his way through INEC. I expected Obi to fight for. So I doubt his sincerity to actually take leadership. I doubt it. So that's why I am skeptical of not giving him the possibility of being the best president. But at least he would have been among the Obasanjo and among Obasanjo and Abacha, to be at least someone who would have done better than others, or who could have done better than others. So that is just so. Daniel BWALA should just go and sit down.